The headlines, the issues impacting you and your family. This Week in Cincinnati on 9 on Your Side.
Good morning and welcome to This Week in Cincinnati. I'm Craig McKee. First today, a new mandate from the U.S. EPA and other agencies for the Hamilton County Metropolitan Sewer District. County leaders say the order could eventually raise water and sewer rates by as much as 70%. According to the county, over the next 10 years, the new work would cost nearly $2 billion for 156 different projects. County leaders say that is just way too much money. The groups involved in that plan are the U.S. and Ohio EPAs and the Ohio River Valley Water Sanitation Commission. Now, from 2006 to 2015, MSD ratepayers saw a 108% increase in their bills as the result of a federal consent decree to overhaul the system. So another 70% would nearly quadruple rates from the 2006 baseline. And joining us now to talk a little bit more about this issue, Hamilton County Commissioner Denise Driehaus. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Really, at this point, when you talk about the projects that have already taken place, what's left to do? Because this has been going on for so long. What's still the point to get to the finish line?
Yeah, well, the whole consent decree is about separating the sewage from the stormwater, and so that is not complete. But you are right. What's driving all of the projects and all of the cost is the consent decree, a little bit of asset management, which is just keeping up with the infrastructure, the old pipes in the ground.
Sure.
But without the consent decree, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So there's plenty of work still to be done. The question is, how quickly do we need to get it done, and how much of a rate increase can the ratepayers bear? As you just said, rates have been going up. We've held them flat for the last few years, but under what US EPA has given us, they go up 70% in the next 10 years.
And when you say that number, when we did that report, I run a hotline here called the Feedback Friday Hotline. We are people's thoughts every Friday. And as soon as we announced that 70% potential, there were a lot of people calling in, obviously very concerned. And when you're talking 70%, it goes from, say, $610 on an average breakdown up to $1,037 for that 70%. That's a big jump. And many people, though, don't understand whatever pot of money where things come from, they immediately come back and say, well, if the county can fork out money for a new infrastructure around a new stadium or this project or that, suddenly out of the blue they can find that money. Why can't they find the money to do this project?
No, so MSD is ratepayer money, and so all the money that is collected from the ratepayers are what goes into these projects. The other pots of money, and none of it's general fund. I want to be really clear on that, because we are we're in a structural deficit right now with the general fund, primarily because of some of the state's cuts that have happened over the years. But and the other ones are parking funds and the stadium fund. But MSD rates are what pay for the projects. And so if we are going to do more projects and they're going to be more expensive, then the ratepayer has to pay for that.
Two different projects and plans on the table now. Very different when you talk about the county plan and the city of Cincinnati plan to take care of the next phase. Dollars and cents difference as well. The city's plan would cost about $1 billion. The county plan right around $616 million. First, why two different plans? Why can't there be some sort of an agreement? And why such a difference in price?
Well, so remember, the county owns and the city runs MSD, and so the county's obligated as the owner of the utility to provide EPA with our plan. It's called Phase 2. Phase 1 is completed, about $1.6 billion for some of the separation that's already taken place. But moving forward, we need a Phase 2. And so we've got two different versions. We're obligated to do that. We did it. It's a 5-year version of the plan because we just passed some federal legislation that gives us some flexibility to lower costs, green infrastructure, and some other things. We want to take advantage of that, and so a 10-year plan locks us in where we can't take advantage. And so we said 5-year plan, low, it's like a 3% increase, so there is an increase there, but it's not that high. The city's plan, which they are not obligated to provide, you would have to ask the city why they provided it, but it's a 10-year plan, and it's far more expensive than the county version.
And the Phase 2 plan actually is slated for 2020, is kind of where you're set right now.
We're in a bridge period right now where the city and the county have agreed on this year's projects. It's 2020 when we start to get into Phase 2.
All of this is the result of that federal consent decree that you're talking about here. The county says, though, it's a violation of that decree. Why can't you take any of this to the courts to slow down or stop some of this?
We are in court. We are in front of Judge Barrett right now. Since I've been on the commission, which is about 2.5 years ago, this started way before I got there.
Sure.
And so we have been in litigation since then, trying to figure this out. Who should be the grand master, really, of MSD? Because right now it's so bifurcated. The county owns, the city runs, and we do this, and it's not helpful. And so we're trying to resolve that in court.
If you're looking at a 70% increase, though, is it really fair to do a 70% across the board, or would you look at, all right, certain users, albeit if they only make a certain amount of money per year, or the businesses? We spoke to a brewery locally who obviously uses a lot of water to brew beer and wash out containers and all of that, and there are other companies and businesses that use a lot of water aside from the breweries and distilleries. That would be a huge impact for a business to suddenly 70% either absorb it or their product has to go up in price.
And I hear a lot from breweries, and I visit a lot of breweries, so familiar with that. But what we have done recently is called the CAP program, and so it's a customer assistance program that we are allowed to do by law today, and we just passed that. It's for senior citizens that qualify for the homestead at the state level, and so if you qualify for that, you qualify for this CAP program. It's low-income seniors, basically, who are on a fixed income. We are looking to expand that to say if there are other low-income residents that need their kind of relief, that would provide. Then Cecil Thomas is working with us to pass that legislation at the state level. I don't know if that will pass, and I'm also not sure how long that will take. But in the meantime, we are talking about ways to make things more affordable, particularly for those that use less water, because we've got a pretty high base rate right now that we all pay right off the bat, and then your usage determines how much you pay after that. Maybe we should reduce the base rate and then base the rest of it on usage. It seems more fair, something we're thinking about.
If we can, just to go back to some recent news, Tracy Hunter, former juvenile judge, who is now serving her 6-month sentence behind bars. You and the other commissioners agreed and wrote a letter basically saying that she should be released. Why did you want to all agree to that letter and submit that letter?
Basically what we said was that we don't think the jail time fits the crime. I mean, this is we have been trying very hard as a county to make sure that the people that are in jail, we've got an overcrowding problem, belong there, and anybody that doesn't belong in that facility should be dealt with otherwise. So that was kind of the tone, I think, of the statement, to say that, is Tracy Hunter really a violent threat to this community? I personally don't think so. And so was there a different way to do that?
Do you think the ongoing reaction is justified? The groups who are supporting Tracy Hunter, the rallies and the protests out of former Judge Nadel's house and Dinkelocker's house, is that justified? Well,
I obviously have no influence over any of that, but I watch that from afar. I have mixed feelings about that, having been. I'm an elected official myself, and my brother was too, and those kinds of protests happened outside his house, and so it's disquieting for the community and for the families involved. But people, they do what they think they need to do, but I think it's an unfortunate situation all around. All right,
Hamilton County Commissioner Denise Driehaus, thank you so much for coming by, giving us an update on the MSD situation. We'll continue to watch as Phase 2 gets underway next year.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.